Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I'm going to show you two of the most exciting supporter cards we have seen in quite some time. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a look at Mustard. Now, Mustard, if you played the Isle of Armor, you will know that Mustard is kind of the big guy, the guy that owns the gym and all of that stuff. We are well beyond Isle of Armor spoilers at this stage. But of course, Mustard has the other Urshifu. You choose one, Mustard ends up with the other. So essentially, we have got Mustard with Rapid Strike Urshifu and Mustard with Single Strike Urshifu. So essentially what we have to do here is we have to go along and say, well, surely we need both the Mustard, and yes, we do need both the Mustard. So we have two supporter cards coming in here. We have got Mustard Single Strike Stance and Mustard Rapid Strike Stance. Obviously, what we're doing here with this set, we are really building up a suite of options of support, of call it what you will, for Single Strike and Rapid Strike Pokemon. And you should expect to see a lot more parallel cards here. A lot of cards where there are essentially two versions, one for Single Strike and one for Rapid Strike Pokemon. Well, that is exactly what we have for Mustard here. And honestly, if we have a look at these two cards, they are going to start looking rather similar indeed. So I'm going to start off with Rapid Strike Mustard, or Mustard Rapid Strike Stance as it's actually called, because I am firmly planting my flag over with the Rapid Strike Pokemon. I mean, they've got Empoleon, basically. So, you know, what more do you need to know? They also just look cooler, but they've got Empoleon, so I'm Team Empoleon. You can only play this card if it is the only card in your hand. Put a Rapid Strike Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards. What does that sound a little bit like? Now, bearing in mind that Rapid Strike Pokemon are largely fighting and water, not entirely, but they're going to be the two main types. Oh, look! It's Archie's Ace in the Hole. That could only be played if it was the last card in your hand, and put any water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and drew 5 cards. Archie was for water Pokemon, this is for Rapid Strike Pokemon, but do bear in mind that, yeah, these got a little bit broken and expanded. Now, Mustard Single Strike Stance, you can probably guess exactly what this one does at this stage. You can only play it if it is the only card in your hand. You put a Single Strike Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards. And obviously here there is a big parallel to be drawn with Maxie's, because Maxie's lets you put any fighting Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards. We are expecting Single Strike Pokemon to be largely fighting and darkness. Yes, I know a bunch of Rapid Strike are going to be fighting, I'm sorry. The point is here that we saw how phenomenal Archie's and Maxie's were, and they're back. These cards are Archie's and Maxie's. Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. And Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick literally broke, expanded, and had to be banned because it allowed you to play Archeops turn 1 going first, or when they banned supporters turn 1, you know, turn 1 going second. But still, your opponent hasn't played any supporters at that stage, and it just blocked your opponent from playing evolutions. And Kabutops also came around in Team Up, which would stop your opponent playing supporter cards. Bearing in mind, if you go second, your opponent can't play a supporter turn 1, and then on your first turn, you turn off supporters. Ha 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 ha. Will these do the same things? I don't know. You've got to imagine that the card designers have looked at this and gone, right, this went wrong before, let's try not to break the game. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the Single Strike Mustard really does gel beautifully with the cards I showed you in the previous video, those being Houndoom and Emboar. Houndoom has got that awesome ability that searches for a Single Strike energy and attaches it to one of your Pokemon. Remember that makes the Single Strike Pokemon do an extra 20 damage. And Emboar's got a lovely ability that lets you do an extra 30 damage. As long as it's a Single Strike Pokemon, obviously. The key point with Emboar, though, it's a Stage 2, and it stacks. But it can be played with Mustard. So now you don't need to play a whole Emboar line. You can be playing a single strike deck, be playing a couple of Mustard because it's clearly awesome. And let's not forget, while we're here, you can use Eldegoss to grab this from your discard pile into your hand. You can use this with Mewtwo to put it on the top of your deck, and then have an Oranguru on the bench that can swap the only card in your hand with that, and then you play it. The reason why Archies and Maxies were so gosh darned good is because we could use them reliably. Now, there are a bunch of things that helped. Computer Search discarded 2 cards from your hand and searched for any card in your deck. Ultra Ball discarded 2 cards from your hand and searched for a Pokemon, but that Pokemon could be a Tapu Lele, which would then search for a supporter card and put it into your hand. We had Versus Seeker, etc. Got a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. We also had Execute with that awesome ability that let you put it from your discard pile into your hand. So if you had Ultra Ball and 1 card in hand, you picked up Execute to empty your hand. If you had Ultra Ball and 2 cards in hand, you didn't pick up Execute. It really helped. We are not in that situation, yeah? We are not like Expanded, where Archies and Maxies are really genuinely kind of, well, really consistent. But we've still got cards like Quick Ball that will discard a card from our hand in order to play them. And we've got cards like Eldegoss and Mewtwo that will allow us to recover your supporters quite nicely. And I do believe these are going to work. Not as much as they do in Expanded, not as easily as they do in Expanded, but I do believe that at some point they're going to end up working. And that means that Pokemon like Emboar are all of a sudden way more viable. Like, significantly more viable. Because I don't have to be playing the Stage 2 line. I can just drop this. And the other thing that's great about this, even though you're getting a huge advantage by playing a Stage 2 or Stage 1 Pokemon onto your bench, you're still drawing 5 cards. You don't have to give up your draw for the turn in order to play this. Please, please, please do not sleep on how gigantic that is. The fact that you also get to draw cards at the same time while you do this is really rather phenomenal indeed. Now, I should mention Antoine did pop a little translator's note. The lovely Antoine Boulet was our translator here. I don't think I actually said that earlier in the video. My apologies, Antoine. That is absolutely what is going on here. And we kind of know this because even though we have the translator's note, it doesn't say it's basic only, and we have precedent here in the form of other cards that did this and could get stage 2s. So there really should be no question here as to whether it can get stage 2s or not. It blatantly can. And clearly Emboar's what I'm loving here. I like it for Houndoom as well, but you do get the most mileage out of this when you're using it for stage 2s. And if you can use this a couple of times for a couple of Emboar and your Pokemon are doing an extra 60 damage, I mean, bearing in mind, you're drawing 5 cards. Drawing 5 cards is pretty good, but we've got Pokemon like Dedenne and Crobat at the moment, so we do have pretty good Pokemon draw coming in here as well. Now, as for looking at Mustard Rapid Strike stance, I mean, look, these are hard cards to analyze at the moment because the reality of the situation is we're going to be getting a bunch more. It's not like these are the only Single Strike and Rapid Strike Pokemon we're ever going to have. These Pokemon are going to keep coming around and around and around. So it's hard to sit here and really tell you what the best uses are. That is going to be determined over time. But remember that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is just a Pokemon. Now, when we all had Archies, we tried to use it on Pokemon Break. Golduck being the best one, because that let you move energy around and could have been awesome. But it was a break on a stage 1, so a further evolution, a pseudo stage 2. It was awkward to get into play. But Pokemon Break, they didn't have like half the card, retreat cost, weakness, all of that. They did not work, you could not use them. There is no such reservation here when we are talking about Pokemon VMAXs. So again, I don't need a ruling on this. You can use this on Urshifu VMAX. It is a proper Pokemon. And I'm thinking Gale Thrust. You go second, turn 1, Urshifu VMAX comes into play, and Gale Thrust does 150 damage for a single energy as a 330 Pokemon, HP Pokemon, on turn 1. It's absolutely viable. It is absolutely possible. I mean, Rapid Strike, the clue is in the name. They're supposed to be fast. But I think this is phenomenal. 150 for a single energy turn 1 is not the kind of attack we usually get. But if you go second, and you use Mustard Rapid Strike stance, grab an Urshifu from your discard pile, as long as you play Mustard as the only card in your hand. And it's awkward, right, because you've got to get your VMAX into the discard pile, and you've got to get Mustard as your only card in hand, etc. Don't care. Because I'm sure there is a way to make this consistent. And, using stuff like Quick Ball, etc. And then you can just play this and get this out, draw 5 cards, attach an energy, and you're doing 150 damage turn 1 going second. And all I've really done in this video is give you examples. We're going to get more as we go along, and these cards are really going to come into their own. I think the best we've seen for single strike stance so far is Embor, and for rapid strike stance, I think it is Urshifu V Max, the rapid style. But make no mistake about it, this is just going to get better and better and better. And of course, these cards, when we had them last time as Archie and Maxie, they literally broke the game. So it's going to be interesting to see if any similar cards get released here. Although you've got to think the card designers are looking out for it now. Either way, these are absolutely flat out, no question, 5 WOSSy cards. If you're playing a single strike or rapid strike deck, I don't see why you wouldn't just play 1 or 2 of these as a tech. Worst case scenario, whack it in your discard and grab it with Eldegoss or Mewtwo later. Because if you're, suppose if you're only playing basics. If you're only playing basics, I can see why you might not want to. But, in a rapid strike deck, being able to grab an Urshifu VMAX from nowhere when your opponent isn't expecting it because there's no Urshifu V ready to be evolved, tell me that doesn't sound like fun. Of course it sounds like fun. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am very excited about these cards, but I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.